right, Neil. Good morning, sir, or I guess good afternoon. You're what, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon where you're at?
There we go, 3:15 in the afternoon.
3:15 in the afternoon. Excellent, excellent. Well, we really appreciate your time. You're very busy in what you're doing, and you do lots of production, and we're just very, 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 very honored to have you with us. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Hey,
Good.
Nancy.
Good job. Yeah, you had Nancy. You're with Nancy Dupree and her mastermind group, correct?
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. Very, very cool. Excellent. So Neil, give us like a little Reader's Digest version, if you will, of where your market is, kind of the price points, maybe how long in the business, just some background on it for us to get started here.
Okay, so my market is Washington, D.C. and suburbs. So I carry 3 real estate licenses, Maryland, Virginia, as well as D.C.
Oh, wow. That's
yes,
interesting. I don't know that we've run into that too many times.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a pain when it comes to, renewing your license annually. But we got to do what we got to do. So I'm always seem to be in a sort of a continuation classes, a total of 15, 30, 60 hours combined with all 3 jurisdictions. So
per year?
Actually, if I break, it's every other year. So you're cycling it about maybe 20 courses per year or so.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So that's something that we don't have here in California. We have
You are lucky and thankful about that because we always have to do it. And then of course we have 3 different types of contracts. So we got to learn that again. So when there's a revision, we have to have a different, because each board does things differently and every state does it differently. So we always have to be in class or in school, so to speak.
Wow. Wow. So
anyway,
3 different states, 3 different laws, 3 different licenses. My
That's
goodness.
correct.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's correct. So I've been doing this business now for about 33 years exactly. My first 7 years I was part-time. Then I sort of jumped into it full-time. Full-time I got into it when I was in the early 30s. Now I'm 57.
Okay, well, you look younger than that, so good job.
Oh, well, thank you. Must be all that water I'm drinking.
Exactly.
So I'm a sole practitioner in my mind, but I also have a small team of about 3 people.
Okay.
And a full-time ad. I focus all my energy on just being me, and the team itself runs itself. They're somewhat engaged with the Mike Ferry system because I educate them and teach them that way. So when I speak to you today, I'm speaking to you as just a sole practitioner doing his business to be the best I can be.
Good. That's great. Excellent. So as a sole practitioner, what was your goal in January for deals done?
100 deal, $1 million in income.
100 deals, $1 million. Okay. Simple.
Simple
All right. Simple as that. So what percentage of that is listings taken versus buyer sales?
85% listing takens.
Okay. And what's the basic source of your business?
I created something called pillars. Pillars represent where my business is coming from.
Okay, interesting.
So take it this way. So I work with trustees attorney, that's 1 pillar. First sale by owner and expired, that's 2 different pillars. Just listed, just sold is 2 different pillars. Past customer COI, that's 2 different pillars. And then of course, I work off of my database, that's a different pillar as well. So a combination of all these pillars, my goal was only to achieve 10 transactions from each pillars. Therefore, I can get there a lot sooner, and I know where the business is coming from. And then, of course, I missed one thing, farming. I do have 2 farms that I get a lot of business from as well.
Okay, good. So what of the pillars, what's the one that brings you the most business so far?
It is the one coming directly from my farm that gives me a lot of listings.
Interesting. Very,
Yes.
very interesting. Good.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, it's condos, townhomes. Describe your marketplace, I guess.
All right. So my marketplace, my average, I'm gonna talk about my personal and my average. We have about 12,000 realtors in this market that I am in. And of the 12,000, most of the places that we farm or is condominiums. We have a lot of condo saturation here. So I focus on a lot of condos. I don't do open houses. And if I do, it's because I really want to be out there. But in the most part, last year, I might have done about 3 open houses. I just adopted a new farm that I'm going to be working really hard this year. But what happened with COVID-19, I couldn't do what I wanted to do because the goal was to get another 10 listings out of that farm by purely calling and prospecting and sending out real estate literature.
Okay, got it.
Got it?
So what got in the way of you doing that? Just the slowdown of the market in general?
I started it at the beginning, February of this year. I sent out my first market update, which was 850 pieces of mail. The average price is 800,000. So I mailed that out, and then the whole virus thing came about. And then I couldn't really do anything going beyond that. I didn't want to walk the neighborhood. I wanted to walk the neighborhood and put up door hangers, but I really couldn't do that. But what I've been doing, I've been driving through the neighborhood, taking my phone and studying the prices on these newer homes, these newer constructions. There's about a 7-year-old community. So when I do get a call, I will flawlessly know what I'm talking about.
So it's kind of like previewing property.
Previewing property. I take my family, my son, he's on a skateboard. I get to see the neighbors who's living there, what the age group is, what the ethnicity is. So that's how I'm feeding out the neighborhood.
So this is a brand new market for you, so to speak.
This is a new market I'm attaching. I want to create 3 farms because I believe if you create a farm over time, it'll pay dividends, but you got to work at it before it pays out dividends. For example, one condo that I've been farming for 30 years, 810 units. It's studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. The average price is about, say, 500,000. I have gotten that market where I'm the dominant agent in that building. I've done everything possible to brainstorm the residents and the renter. Literally, I will call the renters, I will call the absentee owners, I will send a mail out to the renters, to the absentee owners. I will provide annual Thanksgiving lunch for the entire staff in the building. I've sent out a calendar. I constantly call that building because of that reason, and because of also because I don't do open houses, so I don't get that free marketing exposure with my signs up there because I believe I need a day off, and that's my day off.
Okay.
That's Sunday.
All right. Got it. Perfect. So it's an interesting thought because the condo complexes in larger buildings have staff, and you're marketing to the staff too because they're going to know people who might want to buy or sell something, correct?
Yes, because the staff refer me people. If somebody walks in the front desk and says, do you know if there's anything for sale? They just call this guy.
Sure.
And that has happened quite a bit.
Good for you.
Including there's a mini market in the lobby area. It's about 300 square feet of it's kind of like a 7-Eleven. The guy that works there, he's been there for 25 years. He also get my stuff. He also refer people to me.
Good for you. Smart. Very smart. Okay. And then, so the what percentage of the 100 comes from farming?
I would say a good 35–38% of listing takens is coming from the farm.
Okay, good. And then the next percentage down would be what? At which category?
It's going to be expires and then for sale by owners.
Okay.
And then it'll go straight into my database.
Got it. Okay, excellent. All right. So this is actually right behind Rise and Grind, Robert. This goes right into Robert's, so the conversation we've been having is grinding. 35 years later, you're making $1 million a year selling houses. Now that's on your own personal production, doesn't count your team. I'm
Yes.
assuming they're making you some money too,
Well,
correct?
I'm about 950. I haven't hit a million.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you're failing at a high level.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
I love it. I love it. Good job.
Yes.
Okay. So can we call it $1 million?
If you want to.
Okay, thank you.
In my
All right.
mind, it is.
Okay, got it. So you're doing this. Are you? I guess my question is, at $1 million a year, are you still grinding? Do you get up every day, 35 years later, and make your calls and do your follow up and stuff like that?
Listen, I am hungry at this business. I still believe I have another 30 years to go because I love what I do. I honestly do. I get up in the morning like I normally do, 4:45 every morning. And I'm in the office 7:10. My day starts at 5 o'clock. I start working on my to-do list around 5 a.m. So when I get in the office, I know exactly what I'm doing. So yes, I still have that passion for it. And I do love it. I mean, just think about it. When I calculate my hour per hour, an hour being me in real estate is about $800 an hour. Let me repeat, an hour being me is $800 an hour. So I continue to do it because I have that energy and I want to continue to do it at a high level.
That's great. That's fantastic. I love it. I love being me. I mean, you.
Hey, we got to say first name.
I like that. Okay. So the COVID virus slowed you down in expanding a market, but I mean, you have your own business, you have other business and stuff like that. So how has this market changed some of what you're doing, or has it?
Oh no, it's changed big time. So let's go back and give a little bit of history here. 2009 is when I felt the market back in the days when we had the crash. Other parts of the country was 7 and 8. I felt it in 9. Then we got into the September 11. I felt it there as well. The reason I'm with Mike Ferry, just so you know, in 2007, when the market crashed in 8, I was making about 750 at that time. Now, when my business dropped, I'm not gonna lie, 70%. I was working the luxury market a lot back then. When my business dropped then, I was only making 250 and I couldn't live off of 250.
Okay.
So a friend of mine said, hey, you should, I'm involved with this guy named Mike Ferry. And I never heard of Mike Ferry because he wasn't big in this part of the country as in the eastern part. Floyd Whitman was big. Brian Buffini was big. And I never heard of this guy. And then she told me what her numbers were and how she has a coach. And I said to her, why do you need a coach? Can't you figure this out yourself? In my mind, I'm thinking this. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go on YouTube and check him out. So I did. And I signed up the next day without even knowing a lot about him. So the reason I share that story with you, with the difference in the market trend that occurred in the past 30 years, what I recognize is if you have a system in place, I think you can strive when the market goes down. And when it goes up, you're always going to be at that level. But when 07 occurred, I didn't know how to handle it because it was the first one that was that big, that affect even the brokerage, closed down doors. The agent, I had a team of 7 back then, which was the early days when teams started to form. I had the first team back in 2006 when they really started, and now team is everywhere. So I don't know if I answer that question for you there, Neil.
Well, no, I mean, you getting into this, you needed a system and you needed something to support you to move you through. I mean, we say this all the time, that when we're given direction, it's amazing what we can absolutely accomplish. But in 2009, 2007 to 9, you had dropped to 250,000 from 750,000, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you a mindset question. All right.
Okay.
That's a big drop. That's
was a
got to
big problem.
really mess with your psyche and the mental side, and even question your own ability to do another deal, right?
It did, because let me paint another picture here for you. In 2008, I had the condo in Miami. I've got the house in Ocean City. I got $1 million condo in DC. I've got the Porsche. I got the Lamborghini. I've got everything you wanted. Excuse me, forget about the Lamborghini. I got the BMW. So now 2007 comes up, 2008, I'm like, whoa, I am screwed. Thank goodness I've saved 30% of my income from every transaction to keep me afloat in the event this happened, because my financial advisor says, I want my 30% on every check. I always send my 30% in. That's the money that kept me going. Now, with all that said, it messed with my mind. It messed with me really badly. And that's why I got into Mike, not necessarily right away, maybe another 2 or 3 years. I thought maybe I can figure this thing out on my own and see how I can propel it forward and go back to that level. But it was extremely difficult, because you got to remember, Neil, back in 07, 08, 09, 010, 11, and 12, luxury loans weren't possible. You couldn't
Right.
get loans. You couldn't get money. So people were buying cash. So even as much as I try, I could not just move forward, because in order to buy, you need financing. And I was claimed to be this luxury agent, which was the worst thing I thought I was ever going to be, because now you're stereotyped as a luxury agent and you're not working the lower numbers. So now if you ask me what price range I sell, all the price ranges. I sell a lot of $150,000 condo all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I meet more people and the numbers add up. The money add up. So I've learned on the mindset, when I got into Mike and I meet some wonderful agents, that put everything in perspective in my mind, how to move forward.
Well, that's great. Excellent. Okay, so what happens now is we run into the COVID-19, and that you said that changes what you do. So what is that changing what you had to do now?
Well, COVID-19 started now about 40 days ago or so. I remember I was coming from an open house, which is, again, I said I don't do often, but I did this one because it was a new one I have in a particular building I used to live for $1 million. So on the way to the office, I got an email from our broker that says, no one should enter our office. Somebody tested positive for COVID-19. I was like, what are they talking about? It just started. So I was locked out. My computer was there. I couldn't get in the office. I had to work at home and on an old laptop, which I've never worked at home ever in 30 years. So I was like, son of a gun, what am I going to do? This is like 2007 coming back again. So since then to now, 40 days later, 2 weeks ago, my dad passed away from COVID-19.
Oh, so sorry.
So now I'm dealing with this COVID-19 thing. What has happened to my dad, and my numbers for this last 40 days, I'll be frank with you, wasn't that great. It was hard to get my mind back immediately back into it. And I'm still trying to get it back, but thank goodness I have an amazing mastermind group that I'm part of that help us and support us and guide us, and you know, we just constantly texting each other. It's a hard thing. So for me, I'm back now. In my mind, I realize my dad is now gone. I can't change the outcome there. I can't change anything with COVID-19. So what I did was I got my social media guy to put together sort of like a slideshow for every seller and every buyer as a listing presentation, what I'm doing now to list properties for sellers. And I send that to them, sort of like a pre-listing package, but virtually. And it's colorfully done. It tells you what the CDC requires, what the local board requires. And it sort of spooks a lot of for sale by owner, not knowing what they're doing, and they're not following the rules or the laws. So I send that out now, and that's part of my listing presentation.
Great thought. Sending out all of that to a for sale by owner.
or even a prospective seller that
Absolutely.
wants to sell.
Absolutely. Because probably your competition hasn't gone to that extreme of what it's going to take to get the property sold. And so they don't know that, nor have they seen it, nor do they understand it. Very
No.
smart. Good for you.
No, I got to do a little something different because I've never done virtual tours and none of this stuff that we're doing now. We're used to it. I just want to go out and meet and greet, but I can't do it.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's cool. Now that's great. That's fantastic. So and then you started with saying that you took over a new track area where you're going out and taking pictures of
Yes,
listings. Do that
no,
again for me.
I have an app on my phone, which I don't use often. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but my son uses it all the time. I said, Hamden, take a picture of that house and tell me what it's worth, and then he'll tell me what it's worth. So we have fun with it. So I know exactly what that house is worth as I'm walking by the neighborhood or driving by the neighborhood. It's a cool. It's called Home Snap. Is that Home Snap? Yeah, you take a picture with it. Of that property. Home Snap. It's part of our matrix system, our Bright MLS.
Home Snap.
Home
Everybody's
Snap. You
right.
basically
You see
take an
everybody writing like
iPhone.
crazy on here?
What's that?
You see everybody writing like crazy on here, huh?
Yeah. So I take a picture of the house and it tells me how much a house is worth based on the most recent sale. And that's how I have an idea of what the house is worth as I'm driving through or walking through the neighborhood.
That's great. Very, very good. So good. Excellent. That's how you know about the neighborhoods and all the different things. So tell me, this is real world, and if you don't want to share, I get it. But it would be helpful for us, I think, a little bit. What does Neil have to do, Neil, have to do to get your mind right? You know, you had a death in the family, the marketplace is falling apart around you. You know, it sounds like you put cash away, so that's the good thing. But, you know, the good news is you have cash. The bad news is that no matter how much cash you have, it's finite. So that gets a little bit scary.
It does.
Yeah. What do you have to do? How do you work on your head? What are you doing to get your head right in the morning, the afternoon, the evening? What's that look like for Neil?
So I get up at normally like at my normal time at 4:45 every morning, and I know it's a work there. And again, I can't go to the office. I work at home. I make the best of it. So what I'm doing for my mind is my wife, Laura, she keeps reminding me, I want this beach house. I want this beach house. I want this beach house. And I put that on my my dream board or my 5-year plan. But it's something I'm supposed to get in 2020. So I keep reaching back all the things that I want to push me forward and get me out of the rut. I keep reminding myself, I want this. Or in my case, I'm a guy that like nice things. I wanted a Porsche 911. Mike called it Porsche. I tried to correct him many times. He doesn't listen to me. So
he doesn't listen to any of us, Neil.
Yeah, that's one of my other goals. That's part of my dream board. I want to acquire that in 2020. So I have that as something that I want. So when I look at these tangible assets or these things that I can acquire, it makes my mind, oh, you know what? Don't forget, that's what I want to get. And that puts me back to work. At least it makes me moving one step forward because that's important. And in fact, one of the property that I really wanted is priced at $1,090,000, Ocean View. I've been monitoring this property for almost 6 months now when it was with a broker, but the taxes was ridiculously high and I couldn't understand why. And maybe you can appreciate on $1,090,000, why the taxes are $19,000 when it should be $11,000. So the guy must have fired his agent and he put it for a sale by owner. And I was like, yes. So I called him yesterday, and he called me back today. And I said, I wanted to introduce myself. And by the way, this property is about 3 hours from where I live. It's in the Ocean City, Maryland. I said, I'm calling you for two reasons. Number one, I'm a buyer, but I'm also an agent. And I'm attracted to the property that you're trying to sell for $1,090,000. The only thing is the taxes of $19,000, and I don't understand why. He says, yes, I need to go ahead and try to fight or abate that number with the county. And I says, have you started the process? He says, no. I said, would you consider seller financing for $150,000? He says, absolutely, I would. I said, would you go to $200,000? He says, I would. I said, would you mind putting a lien on a different property, not the property that I'm buying? He says, why is that? I said, because the lenders are not going to give loans. I'm sharing this story with you because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm still negotiating my dream while I'm in this position of what has happened this past 30 days. Same thing with the car. I got a buddy of mine that sent me a car. He says he's getting it. I said, go get it right now. I'm positioning that way forward, thinking I'm moving forward to my goals that I've set, and I still want to achieve it. So I have to put these things that I put out there as the number one important things for me to move forward, or else I'm going to be an idle, and that wouldn't be good. And
So
when I was an idle, it was in 2008 to about 2012, I was at idle because I didn't understand what was happening with the real estate market until I got into the Mike Ferry system. And then when I got there, you have to prospect, but I learned prospecting from Brian Tracy and Joe Stump and Floyd Whitman. I learned that 30 years ago.
Okay.
It's just trying to reignite it again.
Got it. And it sounds like it's reigniting.
It's ignited. Yep.
Yeah. God, that's great. Fantastic.
See, here's the thing. I've got about 6 months to make up a lot of money in time, because December doesn't really count as a month because it's a short month for most people that goes on a contract December 1st. Chances are they're going to settle sometime in January. So I got about this 6 months remaining to do a lot of catching up. Can I do it? With what's happening right now, it's a hard task. It really is, because in my market, again, condominium lifestyle, condominium sales, 3 people could only show it in visiting, but certain buildings are restricting showings, period. So you got to take your property off the market as a temporary off. That's another challenge to come by. So you have the building is shutting down on top of the clients are starting to shut down a little bit. So you have to talk to a lot more people, Neil. I got to talk to 5.5 hours, 45 contacts. That's what my coach wants me to do. 5.5 hours, 45 contacts. Yes. 5 days a week? First. 5 days a week? 5 days a week. And for bonus, I do every other Saturday for 3 hours. So 5 times 5 is, so you're hitting 250 contacts a week? That's the goal, but I don't. What do you think you're hitting? Averagely, I would do about 700 to 800. Getting to that 800 plus is extremely hard because getting. So wait a minute. Wait. Sorry, I don't mean to stop you. That's so all right. You're hitting. You do hit 700. I do hit 700 a month. A month. 700 a month. And it's a stretch for you to get to 800. No, it's a stretch for me to get to 1,000. It's a stretch to get to 1,000. I love you. It's a stretch. Yes. That difference of 200 plus contacts, unless I work my database to say hello and goodbye, I can help, I can get it. And not talk real estate. Got it. So how do you, 35 years, making a lot of money, you've got awesome goals and things, and you want to make your wife happy and your family happy and yourself happy, I get it, and you're grinding through this on a daily basis, you're focused in at it. I just think that's fantastic. And, you've got these goals in front of you. What could you suggest or recommend to some of our people to help pull them through that? Because we're trying to get them to 200 contacts a week. Mike came through here a few weeks ago,
and said we needed to be at 500, 500 contacts a week. So we're still reeling a little bit from that. But how can you help me get them to 200? Any suggestions there?
I think you got to do it as a group effort and make each other accountable for each other. I think that's the only way you're going to do it, because for you to do it by yourself as a sole person and nobody's watching or being part of it or participating, it's extremely difficult. It has to be with a group, and accountability and sharing, maybe even set goals, maybe even put a penalty out there if you don't hit it. That's the only way I think you could do it, because, I mean, God, as individual, we're not self-motivators. We're just not. We need somebody to keep pushing us and nudging us, and to try to do it on your own, not impossible, very hard to do, extremely hard. I remember the reason why I'm a big goal setter, and I did not know this, is in 1976, I was 13 years old. I came to the US from South America, Guyana. And if you don't know much about Guyana, you probably heard the story about the Jim Jones story.
Sure.
You remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
So my family picked us up from Kennedy Airport, and we're driving to the Bronx. The highway was 8 lane going one way and 8 lane going the other way. And I'm thinking to myself, as a 13-year-old boy, how is it possible to build roads this wide and building as tall as this? And we are little people. How as we as little people can do this? So we lived in the Bronx for about a week because we stayed with family, and my dad was living in DC, and we finally came to DC. So when I saw what this country had to offer, I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away, and I wanted piece of it. And I don't know what it is about that, Neil, but what I saw was this. I saw that anybody here can achieve anything, but more importantly, you can achieve it without an education. And great things can come out of it. All you have to do is work hard. That's all you have to do, is to work hard. But it depends on how bad you want what you want. I knew when I discovered the first glance of a car, and this is a Porsche, that was my motivation. That may sound funny as heck. And when I saw this red 911, I bought a magazine, tore out the page, and I pasted it up on my wall, and I did not know I was doing goal setting. At 13 years old, I had no clue I was doing it. And when I saw that car, I said, one day I'm gonna get that car and I'm gonna pay cash for it. And at 34 years old, I bought it cash for $78,000.
Wow, great story.
Because I didn't know I was goal setting. So going back to what the question you asked, is if you want something bad enough, the mind, particularly what Brian Tracy said, the subconscious mind runs with it and make it happen for you. But you need to be part of the plan. You need to know this is what you want, and you'll do anything, and you'll become relentless to get what you want. And that's how I've always treated what I've done, is I'm relentless in getting every goal that I set, because I know it's achievable. I know it's achievable.
Well, clearly you convinced me. Absolutely. This has been fantastic, Neil. I really appreciate your time, your effort, your focus, getting to know a little bit more about you. You're a very special guy. Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
Very, very good. Very, very good. What we're going to do right now typically is we would stop, and I'm going to ask everyone what they learned. You're welcome to hang with us and listen, or if you have an appointment to go to. But this is the part where I try to lock in the information, because what we got here, I have 2 pages of notes. So first of all, thank you for that. It's really great. Good job. Excellent. Let's give them all a big hand.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll post your information in our chat, and keep it for anyone that's got any referrals that are going out to it's Washington, D.C. area?
Washington, D.C. and suburbs, meaning close in Virginia, close in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Got it. That's great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me ask you. So what did we learn today? What did you learn from Neil today that could help us. Go ahead, Robert.
He's a deal maker.
He is a deal maker.
I mean, and like, but to the point, Neil, one of the things, Neil Schwartz, one of the things you always tell us is that, you know, you have to be a deal maker. It's not about just, oh, they're not interested, this and that. You have to find a way to put a deal together. And, you know, Neil's mentioning all these different things that he's doing to send to them, to follow up. He's got to talk to this person. Are you willing to do seller financing? Are you willing to do this? Like he's a deal maker to put deals together instead of just walking away. And I mean, that's huge. I thought it was really great.
Great. Perfect. Excellent. All right. What else did you learn? What else did we learn out there?
I think his consistency is understated, but wow, all those years being consistent doing what he's doing is a huge thing.
Yeah, every year builds on the year before. Absolutely. Fantastic. Thanks, Karen. Armin.
Well, I learned that, like with him and Valerie Carl and a lot of other ones, that they were successful before, but when they came to Mike Ferry, it just kind of launched them into another stratosphere. And it's not only that, with Mike Ferry, it can go from somebody that's brand new, like the gentleman Cody, I think it was, that we interviewed, went only in his fourth year doing 100. So the numbers don't lie.
Right. Right. Absolutely. That's a great thought. Thanks, Armin. Okay, what else? Who else wants to share? What did you guys learn today?
He set serious goal, and that really pushed him to move forward. And
Absolutely.
I think that's a great thing. He said goal setter. He said that multiple times, and I really love that.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Michael. Nancy Dupre.
Yes, so I'm lucky enough to be in the mastermind group with Neil Bacchus, so great to interview Neil. Yeah, my take-home messages were 10 pillars of sources of business. So you only need 10 from each of these 10 to get 100. So that was fantastic. And then the final statements about how anyone can achieve anything. All you need to do is hard work. Very basic, but it's great to hear that again. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so many of us who were born in America take America for granted. And it's people like Neil who came from other countries, and a lot of you have come from other countries, and realize the opportunities that are in this country are spectacular. Spectacular.
It's amazing.
And, yeah, and to waste the opportunity. It's the conversation I have with you for the really since all the time, but really since March 17th when we went to this virtual situation, where I said, take this opportunity and do something with it. Preview the property, learn the virtual listing presentation, learn the virtual pre-qualifying, learn a virtual open house. For once and for all, you know, learn a CRM, get it loaded, you know, talk to your past client and sphere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we have a phenomenal opportunity in the country and a phenomenal opportunity, and we still have probably 2 or 3 weeks of being homebound, and then it's not, business is not going to come back, boom. It's just not, okay? However, for you guys that have been on momentum, you're going to be fine, just have to stay with it. And you're gonna have to grind. Just get over it. If you need a new word, we'll find you one, okay? But get over it. You want a constant? I'll give you a constant. We've interviewed 14 or 15 guys and gals, Neil, that do somewhere around 100 deals a year and earn in excess of at $1 million to whatever, you know. And the constant, and nobody really wants to buy this, but this is the constant. Everybody's a grinder. Everybody, male or female, medium price, high price, super duper star, medium star, grinder. So you don't want to be a grinder? fine. Move over. Because the grinders will inherit the earth. Okay? I like this. Robert?
Neil, one other thing that, just to kind of go on that grinding point, this is a guy who's going through real stuff. His dad just passed away, and so I mean, it's not, we're most of us, myself included, are fortunate enough to be, the only hard thing we're going through is that we have to stay home because of the virus. We're not sick, we're not, anything along those lines. And he's going through real stuff, like real things, and yet his attitude and mindset of just still moving forward in life and having the goals and things like that is pretty incredible. And it really puts things in perspective for us that, gosh, all we have to do is get on the phone and call people. That's our biggest struggle today, not real life things that he's going through. And so it's very powerful, and I appreciate him kind of sharing things in perspective.
Very, very powerful. Absolutely. All right. Anyone else learn anything they want to share?
Yeah, I learned, I like that he's going and looking at the properties and checking them out from the outside and knowing exactly what they are and what they look like.
Previewing, Valerie. Yeah. Previewing. Don't you like that?
Mm-hmm.
The P word. Good stuff. All right. What else we got? Anyone else have anything they want to share? All right. So thank you, Neil, so very much. And we will get your name and address posted up here. It was a great job. Let's give them all a big hand. Absolutely. Let's unmute you. Woohoo! All right, baby.
Thank you very much.
Guys, have a wonderful weekend.
Good job.